Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is the road to 99 CP in Assetto Corsa. For those of you who don't know what this is, so CP is only gained by doing competition servers, which can be found on the actual main menu of the game itself in the multiplayer section. And yeah, basically it's a 45-minute long race. You've got a qualifying session as well as a mini little practice session to go with it. And you get matched up with all sorts of different kinds of people. And, you know, trial by fire. The first one being Bathurst. What more could you possibly ask for? It's always going to be a bit of a rough one, to be honest. And this is more about survival, let's be honest. You know, when you come to this sort of circuit, especially right now, as you can see in the night, I don't think, if I remember correctly, the race wasn't actually at night when I did it. But it was, in fact, you know, very awkward at first. You're going to see shortly how awkward that ends up being. But if you do like this type of content, if you want to see this series a bit more, get some more episodes out there, then please click the like button, please click the subscribe button, and also just let me know in the chat whether or not that is something you want to see. But as we're coming through now into the uphill section, me and the Porsche head for a bit of a moment. We can gloss over that, right? Right? Yeah. Anyway, here we go then. So we're now into the qualifying session. This at the time of when I'm recording the voiceover for this. It was actually a good couple of months after I actually did the race. So a lot of this is going to be a bit of a surprise to me as well, to be truthfully honest. So I do remember going out for a couple of runs. And I do remember the first run not being bad. It wasn't the best. Definitely not pro level territory. And I have improved a lot since then. It's actually quite interesting to see how much I've changed. TC at 4 and ABS at 5. Now I'm running like TC at 3, which is not really that much of a difference, but ABS at like 2 and 3 is quite significantly different. And yeah, so here we go then onto the first hot lap. Tyres are pretty much at temperature, slightly over on the front right, but every other tyre seems to be pretty good. So you're going towards turn 1, get yourself down to gear 2, just clip that inside but don't run too tight. You can definitely be faster than that now for sure. Exit speed was not so bad. Kept it smooth, slow and steady, as they say. Very long straight here. Then you got to make sure this is really, really smooth on the entrance into this right-hander, because you got to get the braking just right, and you want to make sure you trail it just right as well. You don't want to be carrying too much speed, but you also don't want to be carrying too little speed that you lose all momentum, because this is uphill now. And I think this is one of those sort of circuits where, because half of it is uphill, you really need to make sure that you're getting the most out of the car. Optimizing every single entry and exit in order for you to gain that huge time as you need to. So then right when you get to that tree, go up the hill, keep your foot, you can actually go flat throughout the entirety there into the left-hander. Keep it relatively on the throttle so that you don't lose the back end because of the diff. And same again for the next left. Here we go. Now into the start of the downhill. Bit of a tricky one, this one. Watch out for the braking zones. Make sure you don't make any unnecessary braking. You need to keep it very nicely hooked onto the apexes. Bit of a dodge here. Did lose a little bit of time. But, you know, my cat-like reflexes saved the day. Into the spiral downhill. So, of course, we lost a bit of time there. It means that this is not going to be the best lap that there has been. We expect that we're going to need to go out again. We do have enough fuel on board to do at least one other lap. I doubt we'll be able to get 2. We're going to need to, yeah, I mean, there's enough time to go around, but I don't think, might not be enough time to get another run in after this next one. But this might be a do or die moment now, going on to the final push. We're going to continue with the lap anyway. We're just going to take ourselves across the line just so we can get a banker lap in. It's not the end of the world, and we'll see where that puts us. I think it ends up being a 2:05. Or a 2:06. There's 5, there's 6. Yeah, 2:06.2. So yeah, definitely tons of improvement that can be brought out of that, especially if you take out the dodge, which I think costs us about half a second thereabouts. Already much better through turn 1. You can already see I'm gaining on the exit. Look at the time starting to tick up quite nicely, which is good. Things you like to see. Up the hill again. Continuously. You need to make sure that I run through here as good as possible. Can't really afford more time gain. Look at that, fantastic. 3.5 tenths, almost 4 tenths now. There we go, 4 tenths up. It's actually still climbing, almost half a second up, which is great. I think my PB at the minute now, at the point of doing the voiceover, is around about 2:03.5, I think. Still plenty of time I need to find. Again, it's all about that momentum, but to be honest, I think this is the hardest circuit in the entirety of the ACC game, in my opinion anyway. 7/10 up, already looking much better than last time. This is before we even get to the point of where we had to do the dodge, which I believe was around this next corner here. Nobody's there this time, so no PTSD for me. Continue now into the final spirally section. Look at the time gain here. 1.5 seconds, got it to 1.6. So now a mid 204. Again, still so much more to improve with, but a nice juicy lap time to get us there. I mean, to be honest, looking at it, I'm P3 with the 206.2, so this is not like the most intense lobby I've ever been in, but definitely still going to require me to be on it, because I mean, to be honest, like I said, the track is so difficult in itself anyway that even if you take everyone off the circuit, it can easily go wrong. But we'll have to see how that one pans out. Coming through then up to the final corner, 1.6, almost 1.7 seconds, a bit slow going through here, losing a little bit of time. Exit was pretty good though, so we'll just sort of even that out, and a 204.6 is the best lap I've achieved, and I don't think we have enough time to go out once again. No, we decide against it. So I end up falling down the order. I think Paul was a 203.2, yep, and I fall to P5 as we are now waiting for the final drivers to get across the line. I think I stay there. Yes, I do. So P5 to start off the race. Not bad. Definitely not bad. First CP race I've ever done, which is good. I'm just changing the tyre sets just to make sure that the tyre set is correct. A 45-minute race, remember. It's going to be a bit of a tough one. These are never easy, to say the least. You've got to make sure that it's consistent. Absolutely consistent. It's consistency over pace, in my opinion. And here we are then on the formation lap. Single file all the way around. We'll speed this one up for you. I'm sure you don't want to see the entirety of my formation lap at real speed. Just sort of showing you the techniques I was using to get the car warmed up. Warm the brakes up a little bit. Just sort of trailing the brake a little bit just to get the temperature up. Also giving the car a little bit of a weave. Doesn't make too much of a difference, I'll be honest with you. Weaving doesn't actually affect the car tyre temps that much. I mean, of course it will do something. But if you notice, whenever I'm trailing the brakes are actually warming the tyres up so much better. And I don't necessarily do it the best way, because you can see I'm constantly holding the brake pedal on a little bit, which does work, and you can see the brake temperatures are actually climbing quite nicely, but of course that does wear pretty hard on those brake pads, but shouldn't really be an issue for a sprint race. But here we go then. So now we're going too wide and a little bit further back than I necessarily should be, so a bit of catch up needed. Use that to help me warm up the brakes as well. That'd be good. We got Richard, who qualified P1 right there, getting into his position. Everyone else just shot a little bit too far forward. They're going to now start to slot back just a touch, just to make sure that nobody else ends up in any sort of predicament. Alright, coming into the final corner then. Getting ready to kick this one off. Richard's getting a little bit too far ahead, but there we go, everybody's filtering back in. Yourselves to the speed. Now, I've got to remember, turn 1, do not need to send it. This is going to be just purely a mess if I do. And we are green, we are away. It looks like Richard got quite a good start, and Mazinak has also done the same. Amico stuck on the outside, trying to stick my nose in on the inside. Again, don't want to go full send, but gave him sufficient space on the exit, and that's me already up to P3. So fantastic result by the time we even get through turn 1. P1-2 are fighting up ahead as well, but they're giving each other sufficient space. And I've got the Lexus in my toe, which is not something that the McLaren wants to see, because the Lexus is always going to be faster in a straight line than the McLaren. So I cover him off, come into the corner, just losing the back end a touch, drifting out wide, but better than those behind. So we keep that all together. Happy days. Now they're 3 wide behind me, and I'm actually just going to keep myself as far ahead as I possibly can from them, just so that I don't have to get involved in that if anything goes wrong. And we've got a sufficient gap between us, both at the front and the back, but I actually really want to knock that gap down a little bit. 7/10 is the tow range in this game, so you want to make sure that you are within the 7/10 when it comes to any DRS towing area, should I say, long straight area. There you go. God, I commentate everyone way too much. But the McLaren itself actually struggles in the dirty air. It loses a lot of its grip when it's in the dirty air. So you've got to be really on it. Like your braking distances increase. I mean, the brakes in the McLaren are not actually that good anyway. They're not bad, don't get me wrong, but they're not. They definitely could be improved, that's for sure. So going finally through to the back straight for the first time in this race, and we're 1.1 behind the car ahead. Now these guys were pretty fast in comparison to me. Back then anyway, so I really needed to step my game up. I actually quite liked watching old footage of mine, because this is actually quite an eye-opener to show how much I've actually improved since then. I mean, I knew I'd improved, obviously. It's hard to not improve if you keep playing the game enough. Oh, Richard's gone off. Bit of a tank slapper, couldn't keep it under control, and we are given a freebie up to P2. 2.1 seconds gap now to Mazniak. I think that's how you meant to pronounce it, actually. Mazniak. Realistically now it's going to be a bit of a well, effectively a time trial session. I got to make sure that now I'm just consistently putting in good lap times, because there are people that actually didn't qualify very well in the race. They're actually behind me and very quick. So we shoot forward a little bit further, and we can see now we are now starting lap 4, and I actually set the fastest lap of the race with a 2:05.1. So yes, the gap hasn't really improved between me and the Mercedes ahead, but I do obviously set the fastest lap. So we are just going to shoot forward just a little bit further onto the top of the hill. Same lap, but you can see the Mercedes made a big mistake off into the gravel, and that is a race lead for Raggy? Really? Oh my word. First CP race, and it might even turn out to be a win. Great start for them. But I can't get too cocky, can't get too ahead of myself, because look, LD actually lapping 8/10 faster than me on that previous lap. Going to be something I really need to watch out for. So speed forward a little bit further. We are now on lap 9. We've got a couple of back markers, Belmenko and Saylad, having a bit of a fight. So I actually got to try and keep myself quite smart here. Really pay attention to those two cars ahead. I think Saylad can obviously see the blue flags coming up, so moves out of the way. Lets me through. Very nice of them to do. Probably sacrificed a bit too much speed for themselves. They didn't need to do it as early as he did, but still, I'm very appreciative as a race leader. It makes a massive difference. And then Belamenko actually having a bit of an issue there. Hit the wall. Didn't hit it too hard, but will definitely have hit it enough to have caused himself a fair bit of damage. But now, again, having more issues. Not looking too comfortable through there. Is being blue flagged, but is playing it a bit patient. This kind of had me a little bit nervous, to be honest. Seeing him make that mistake immediately put doubts in my mind as to whether or not he was going to be able to keep it clean. So you may have just seen, if you look to the bottom right, I was actually flashing him on the way down there just to let him know that I am coming, and he does need to pay attention to me behind him, just so we don't have any sort of unnecessary crash. And then coming down the final corner into the Porsche's gone off there. Big tank slapper, but it catches it quite nicely. That does allow Balamenko through, and now again it's another back marker that I do need to try and navigate as quick as I possibly can, and make sure that I don't end up with any unnecessary trouble. Now LD, who was behind me, has had some sort of issue, has dripped away somehow, and now the next guy is Zypher, who's 9 seconds behind me, and actually still very, very quick. But 21 minutes to go. 21 and a half, sorry. I cannot afford to, you know, that's the thing. Yes, I've got a nice comfortable lead, and yes, I don't necessarily need to push it, but this is one of them sort of tracks where if you get off that pace at all, you will start to lose control of the car, because it just becomes unfamiliar territory, and your muscle memory doesn't kick in any longer. But here we go again then. So Matt Vive, the back marker ahead, I'm flashing repeatedly to let him know I need you to get out the way, but mainly because I know that, again, the McLaren struggles in that dirty air. I can't afford to stay stuck in it, and Matt Vive finally concedes, lets me through in a very nice area, so thank you, Matt Vive, for that. Speed forward a little bit further. Got Mercedes up ahead, and I see a yellow car, and I'm getting told that Beaker's in lobby, so I gotta watch out for that. There's Ziege, who I think you may know from Sir Fosh's streams. I believe that is Kylo Ren. And don't go too hard on Kylo, because remember, this is old. But now, further ahead, there is a Mercedes, for whatever reason, just parked there, and it actually stays there for a good few laps before it finally decides to move away. but just a little bit further up the road on that lap. Still got Belimenko up ahead. Not really causing me any issues. They are pulling away until they do that. Big crash into the wall riding all the way around, and decides, yeah, I'll just stay out of the way, and that will be, I'll be them finally dealt with. But that is huge damage for them. So again, now lap 15, 11.5 minutes to go. Still P1, 7.2 to the guy behind, and then they can see there's a bit of a car off on the right side there. RS family. Porsche decided he's going to go see his family and pulling off to the side. Had enough of the race. We now move on to lap 17. And still, even after all these laps, that Mercedes is still there, just hanging out. People making phone calls. People maybe having a checking the map, working out where they are on the route. Yeah, further on, lap 21. We are on the final lap now of the race, in the lead. 8.1 second gap to Zypher. We've done a very good job so far to keep it clean. Had no issues, no contact with anybody, no offs, no real third browns. Just kept myself consistent, stayed out of trouble, didn't go for any unnecessary sends, and just decided that, yeah, like I said, consistency over pace all day long. Obviously, it's good to have both. So if you can have pace, you should have pace. But you know what? I'm not complaining too much. I'm pretty happy with this. Again, then coming up through the hill section, make sure that it's smooth. If you see my last video here at Bathurst, the last lap didn't go so well for me. I actually made a mistake at the top of the hill and slammed into the wall really hard. And it was at night as well, so whenever you brake, your car just struggles to be able to even keep the lights on. So, yeah. Luckily, we seem to be okay so far. Nothing, I mean, you can see the pace has dropped a lot. The tyres obviously had started to drop considerably, because we are 45 minutes in now. There's no way I could beat my PBs in the past, but I can actually still keep a relatively decent pace and still keep consistent. So we've got through the scary bit, but this is the bit where I can't let off. I cannot sort of just go, easy peasy now, because it's, you know, just a couple of straights, a couple of corners, and then we're good. So I do actually have to continue being smooth and consistent as we charge further now down the hill. I think this is actually one of my favourite sections of the circuit. I know there's a lot of really good fun areas, but this in particular, this braking zone into this nice smooth left-hander, I quite like that. I don't know what it is about it. It's a really simple corner, but I really like it. And then you got my PTSD section, for those of you that did watch the 12 hours of Bathurst that I did with Veloce. Yeah, I had a big spin out of there. But we make it through the final corner and across the line to take the dubski. First CP race achieved, and I get the win. Very proud of myself. Already kicking off to a fantastic start. You know, we're going to try and do some donuts. Never been really good at donuts. This kind of proves it. Just casual 180, and then yeah, all right, we'll stop here. And yeah, I didn't get a single CP from this race.